Hello, beautiful souls out there. I hope you're able to get out in nature like Starlight was earlier. And what a beautiful day. It's a little breezy, but I'll take it. I'll take it, you know. And anyway, I love you so much. And I got to have this angle here because otherwise you're going to see people going back and forth where the glass is. So anyway, I love you so much. And I hope you're taking really good care of yourself. And like I've been putting a couple of videos about, there is let love guide you, not fear. Don't, let the news, get you scared and panic and all that stuff, because it's not good for your health, and it makes you feel like crap, right? Yes, it makes you feel like crap. It lowers your frequency and your vibration, and we don't need that, right? So anyway, I love you so much, and a big, huge thank you to all of you out there who have been here with Starlight. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all of you, and thank you for liking my videos or subscribing, leaving me a comment. And also, if anyone would like to send Starlight any love donations, you can through my Cash App, and I will have that information here. Ding! There it is. And before I start this video, now today there's a lot of people that pray, right? They pray. There's different kinds of ways to pray. You could pray however you pray. Starlight has different ways that I pray. You could, now when I was in church, it was always, Dear Heavenly Father, Lord Jesus, is how I started my prayers. So, but I am in spirituality. It doesn't mean that I don't love God. So I do pray to God, and I actually say Jesus, and I do pray and ask archangels for help. And and I'll tell you what, when I pray, things happen. So I'm going to share with you what my life was like a long time ago when I started going to church, learning about prayer, and where I used to be and I am now today, a big prayer warrior. Long time ago when my kids were when they were little tots, so what I learned a long time ago as far as, like praying about stuff, now it's all up to you, but faith, they say it's like, having faith as a mustard seed, and I don't have, I do have something with me, but it's bigger than a mustard seed. So here goes Starlight, let's put all this stuff all over again. Well, this is really bigger than so it's just a bead, Starlight saved this. So a mustard seed is even smaller than this. I actually went and bought mustard seeds just to see what mustard seeds look like, but I don't have those with me now. So anyway, yeah, I have faith as a mustard seed. Now, a mustard seed is really, really small, and so that's what it says in the Bible. And also, there's people that can have faith in us, because in the Bible times, there's people that they might not have had faith in themselves, but other people had faith in them, and things happened because people's faith made things happen. I've had people in my past, or even now, that said, can you pray for me? Because you know what? They lacked faith. And I have to say, the more you pray, the better it gets. It takes time. And faith, though, if you believe when you pray for something that it's going to happen right there, like whenever you need it or whatever it is that, you can make that happen. I'm not saying that you couldn't make it happen. But a lot of times we might pray about stuff, but there's something like our subconscious mind doesn't believe what we're saying. And that's why a lot of times things don't happen, because you're not 100%, and God knows the difference, and that's why the archangel numbers, the angel numbers, I've been doing amazing because the archangels help me with trusting in the process. The archangel Raphael helps me with being positive. When I need guidance, I ask for, which today I had to do this, is to ask for Archangel Gabriel to guide me. Like, I know that the universe is doing something with me today, and I need guidance. I need to, I need some clarity. And I tell you, when it comes to praying, you got to be patient. Depending on what you're praying about, some things take time, And so when I started learning about prayer a long time ago, you know what I learned, and it really helped me out in a major way, is to start first. A lot of people, they want to pray first thing and like, hey, I want a lot of money. I want a lot of money. That you don't want to do it that way, really. You don't want to do that. I didn't know that a long time ago because the church did not teach this. So you don't want to pray for a lot of money. God will take care of all your needs. Is it a need that you desire? Is it a need that you need to get? Or is it something that you want? Like you could pray for people's health. And you could pray for all kinds of stuff. It's unlimited of what, and God wants us to come, and to pray and ask for help. There's a lot of people that get mad at the homeless people out there. What are they doing? They're out there asking for help. And a lot of people like to judge the homeless people based on the outside appearance, saying, hey, they could get a job. But only, it's none of your business whether they could or couldn't. If God puts it on your heart to give somebody money or to help them out with food, you're being tested. And, if God will test you, and in our minds, we might be thinking, well, they should be out there working. But you don't really, outside, we make it look good on the outside. A lot of people are wearing a mask. So we have a tendency to make it look good on the outside, but you don't really know what people are going on, what's going on inside of the person. And on that note, a long time ago when I used to work, for companies, there's times I was deadly sick, like I was horrible, didn't have the strength, didn't have the energy, like, oh my, I got to drive a long way, like almost an hour to get there, and I just didn't have the energy. I looked great on the outside. Now, if I, talked to somebody and they would have said, she looked fine to me. Well, you don't know how I feel inside. And same with the homeless people or anybody out on the street, or anybody in life, period, is that you don't know what's going on inside. Just because somebody looks good they could be going through some shit inside. It could be up here psychologically, like emotions and their thoughts, and, they could have some kind of, what doctors would call like a mental illness. They could have all kinds of stuff. So be careful how you judge on what's going on with people outside. You don't know what's going on inside. And so that's why God will test us out even with the homeless people to help them out. If God put it on your heart and you're wrestling in that and you're not really trusting in God to let go, and don't question whether they can go to work or not. It doesn't matter. If God told you to do something, it's obedience. And say, oh, God told me to do this. And the ego will have all kinds of excuses why not to do something. So you got to really be careful with that. And when I started off, back to when I started praying, what I learned is to pray for little things. Instead of like praying for a brand new car, that's some faith, praying for a car. And when I say little things, Starlight, what do you mean by little things? What are little things? But you know what? You got to catch yourself to realize the little things that you can pray about. Start off little, start off small. That's what I was taught when I started out. And because you'll get discouraged thinking I pray to God all the time, but God never talks to me. Well, there's a lot in the Bible what it says, the do's and don'ts as far as praying goes. And if you don't go to church, but I'm not here trying to get you to go to church either, but, so, and all the churches teach different things. There's some churches that they are way different. Their faith could be even stronger faith than other churches. Depends on, it's kind of almost like you're only going to grow as far as your pastor or preacher is going. Don't you want to grow past that? you don't want to be in a dead church, growing, you're like, hey, like, I'm in a dead church? Yeah, no way am I in a dead church. You might be, but you want to start off little with praying. And what I mean by that is like the little things, like if you got kids, this happens when you have kids all the time. It happens with people, no matter who you are. It can happen to you. It can happen to me. It happens to most people who are messy or disorganized. And how do I know this? Starlight was a cleaner, and I'm a Virgo. I'm a very organized person. Organized. If things are not organized, and you just throw things anywhere, just put it there, you just like, or a big no-no, because I learned this on my own, is if you don't normally stick something somewhere, don't put it there in the first place. And this has happened in my car before, and I'm like, I put my, sometimes I have the back of my car open up, and I like holding my keys here in my either my pants or my shorts, and they will just kind of, I know that they're there, because I can hear them all the time. But sometimes I'll take my key out and I'll put it on something in the back of my car, and I might shut the car up, and then I'm like, oh, where's my keys? So you don't want to really, this is how you can really save you a lot of headaches, is if you don't normally put things there, don't put it there, because you're not going to find it, because that's not a place, So you can start off first by when you lose things, when you can't find something. And this is your intuition by praying. You're asking God, please help me out. Or Jesus, please help me out. Archangel Michael, can you please help me and this happens to me all the time in my car. There's times I'm, because I'm not in a normal situation, I gotta, have everything organized, which it is. And then there's times I gotta take a whole bunch of stuff out of my car, get it at the picnic table at the park, take everything out. And then, there's times I kind of accidentally put something somewhere and then I didn't get it in the bag and something covers up on top of it and I don't know it. Speaking of stories, I will tell you this true story that happened a long time ago. I had a relative that we didn't trust because my daughter caught him sneaking in my stuff before. So anyway, I already knew, I don't know, this relative here, But anyway, he would visit me and spent time with me a lot. It was the first year that I got my income tax money working at Burger King, and I had my 2 kids. So I was so freaked out about having money. I never knew what it was like to have that much money in my whole entire existence, of my life at that time. So I couldn't believe it, the check, like, wow, I got all this money, and that was going to be used to go get a car because I didn't have a car at the time. So this money, it was everything to me. I worked. I didn't know nothing about taxes and all this stuff and how much money I was going to get back, having 2 kids with no dad, not being married, working at Burger King and all that. So anyway, I was like scared out of my mind because I was on foot. So I had to walk all the way to the bank and cash it. And I didn't know what to do with it. I was like so psyched out, I didn't know about trusting a bank. I didn't know nothing, I never had any money in a bank, So I was freaked out. And so anyway, I didn't know what to do with the money, but I got the money, So I put it in my pocketbook, walked all the way home. And then my relative came to my house. And we had coffee, we were talking. And so I had to go because I had to go to somebody's house in that area. So that person, left, and then I took off and went to the person's house, and I went in my pocketbook, and but in my house before, I got to backtrack a little bit, and when I was in my apartment, when I had the money, I had to make phone calls and all this. I had the phone book. Phone book? What is a phone book? So I had a phone book, and I had to make some calls. And that's when my uncle came. And so, I don't know what I did, but anyway, and then we were there for a while, and then we left, and then I went to this person's house, and I opened up my pocketbook, and I'm like, oh my, it's like, my money's not in my pocketbook. And then I got thinking, oh yeah, that's right. I took it out in my apartment. And I was like, I was shitting my pants. I was like, oh my uncle was my uncle was in my house. My daughter's caught him stealing before. But I knew not to, have false accusation. I didn't want to accuse my uncle for something that he didn't do. But I was like, holy cow, I couldn't walk fast enough to get back to my apartment to get in there, first thing, I'm like, and I prayed all the way from, I'm like, God, please help me. I don't know where my money is, I forgot that I put it in my pocketbook. I got home, but I forgot I took it out. My uncle was at the house, and I'm like, I don't want to have false accusation, accusing somebody of something they didn't do. So I'm like, please, please, please help me when I get home, to help me to find this money. It was all the money. That's my car money. And so I get in the house. My kids were in school at the time, or daycare, or wherever. And so I get in a house, and I'll tell you what, it's like a person that, hasn't smoked a cigarette in freaking a week, I hadn't smoked cigarettes at this time, but man, I'll tell you what, the panic alarms were going off. And I'm in my house, and your intuition will help you. God will guide you with your intuition. And I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. And I'm looking all over, please, and something, said, okay, what did I do today? I'm like, well, I made some phone calls. So the phone book was right there, on the coffee table. And so I just happened. It's so weird. It's like my intuition told me to do this, and I didn't even know nothing about intuition. And something made me just open up, because whatever number I had to call, there was all my money right in the phone book. Whoo! Talk about praising God after that. I was like, thank you, God. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I mean, like, all week, thanking God, because that money, that I thought my uncle stole, and I didn't want to see him that way, It's like, you better not, So you want to pray for little things. Pray when you lose things, like ask for help to, and then you can work it, So once those things, you start finding things, just keep on praying about finding things. Oh, I lost something, or there's all kinds of different things, like when you have kids, you're always losing stuff when you have kids. Where's their sneaker? You got to go to school, and where's the other sneaker? So think of little things that you could start off with, the little things, and then you'll be like, when you find what you're looking for, when God answers your prayer, make sure you say thank you. Say thank you so much for helping me, to find what I was looking for. And then there's going to be another time you're going to lose something, and boom, now it will give you something to pray for. And then you can pray for a little bit bigger things, and so what it is, it's getting your faith to get bigger, and that's what you want, and that's what my faith has gotten stronger, and because of this journey that God put me on. Now the things that I used to stress out, I don't stress out. I don't sweat the small stuff anymore. Now I'm like, my faith is increased. And I pray, I even do this with the weather. Just the other night, I had to microwave my food because I couldn't microwave it. And so I microwaved it at a gas station, and it's kind of funny because I was like, it was going to start raining, and I'm like, oh my, so I was like, I'm like, okay, God, please help me. Please, slow the rain down. If it's sprinkling, I don't care. But I got to get, back to my car. I got, I didn't want to be soaking wet because I had to get all my food out of my car so I can eat it in my car before I go to bed. And you know what? I asked God to please calm the rain down. And it's funny, it poured when I went in the store, and when I got out, I was able to get back to my car, and it just stopped raining. By the time I got to where I was parking, it stopped raining. I was able to eat all my food, get everything put away, and that's what I prayed for. I'm like, please, you can pray for that stuff. You got to believe in it, though. But it does take time to build up that kind of faith, unless you start off, and I'm not saying you can't make that stuff happen, but, anything is possible. you got to believe in yourself, and you got to trust and believe in God. So keep on working on, praying for the little things. And like, like if you're searching for, you got something that you need, you could pray and say, God, please help me. If you got a need, like help with your paying bills. But it takes time to get that faith strong enough where, you got to let go and just trust that God's going to take care of it. You don't know how. God doesn't want us to work 2 jobs or 3 jobs to pay everything, So I love you so much. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight. Love, light, and peace. Thank you for watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, give me a thumbs up. And you can leave me a message down below. Beep, beep, beep. Plus, you could share my videos with your family or friends. And don't forget the notification bell. And check out my playlist. And you can also find me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K, Dingman Starlight. Thank you for watching. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight. Love, light, and peace.